Okay, so I'll be showing you how to make a soda can in the latest version of Maya. So the first thing you have to do is, and you have to do this when you are modeling anything that's based on real life, it's look for a reference image. So I just typed soda can in Google, and I'm just gonna save this one. Actually, no, let me save. Close that. And I just pick one of these images. So yeah, you can save. I saved this one earlier on my computer. So get that image or whichever image you want. And then let's look for one from the top view. And then just get whatever. Any of these should be okay. I believe I got one of these. I believe it was this one. So with that done, so we're here in Maya 2018. This is the latest version. So I'm going to be showing you how to do this step by step. So let's go to view, and this is view under your 3D view menus here. So go to view, image plane, and then import the image that you downloaded. So let's import the one that's in the front facing one. So I imported an image, and as you can see, I did this wrong on purpose, so I imported it in my perspective view. So if you do that, you see the image is like blocking your view, right? So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is when you import an image, so press the spacebar. So the spacebar shows you, all four windows. One that's for the top view, the front view, the side view, and the perspective. So in the front view, you can see that the image is all crooked because we imported it in our perspective view. But because this image is the front facing, we want to import it in our front view, which is this one. So let me close. So what you do, select it, and then just hit backspace or delete on your keyboard. And now we're going to do it right and do it under the view that's in our front view menu here. So view, and then import it here. So now as you can see, it's in our front view, and in our perspective, it's placed correctly, like how we want it to be. So now that we have that, I'm going to press W. Make sure you have it selected. Whoops. Make sure you have it selected, and then press W, and then just use that blue arrow and just drag it back like that. I'm just doing this so that because when I make my model, it's going to be created here, and I don't want the image to be, blocking the way. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the opacity of it so that, when I'm working on the front view, it's not like getting in the way because it's too bright. So to do that, select it, and then make sure your channel box window here is open, and if it's not, you can toggle between these guys. If yours is closed, what you can do is press Ctrl A, and it's going to open it. So mine was already open. So in the channel box, you can see here's your image plane 1, and what we want to do is we want to decrease the brightness or the opacity of this image. So what I want to do is go to alpha gain right here, and then just type maybe 0.5, so half. And let's do less than that. 0.3 should be cool. Cool. So now it's more transparent in our front view. So it's going to make it easier for us to model. By the way, I'm using Maya 2018, but if you're using any other version of Maya, everything I'm going to show you here applies. The software has not changed so much that you wouldn't be able to follow if you were using an older version of Maya. So in this video tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make it a certain way. One thing you have to know about 3D modeling in general is that you can make things in different ways. There's many ways that you can make a thing. So I could use so many techniques just to make this soda can, but I'm going to show you a specific way in this tutorial. I'm going to show you how to do it using the box modeling technique, which means you're making a primitive that's already been made by Maya, So I'm gonna press the space bar here so I can go back to my perspective view. go to create, and make sure you're on the polygon primitives, not the NURBS. Don't use that. And so Maya comes with a bunch of pre-made primitive objects, and for the soda we want to get one that's closest to it. So we want to use the cylinder because this is a cylindrical object. So as you can see, when we do that, Maya creates a cylinder in the center of our perspective view. So what we want to do with this is we want to decide if this is, you want to decide if this is round enough, or do you want it, not so round. And if you want to make it rounder, you can go here again on the channel box, and there are the inputs, and then just click this guy, and here you see that you have the subdivisions. So you can increase this to, like, let's go crazy, let's do 60. So now it's like really round, so you can see here. I'm gonna keep it at, let's do the 20 that we got from the beginning. I mean, it's just a soda can. Unless you're making a commercial with this, you don't need it to be like crazy, to have a crazy poly count. And as you can see here, let's go back here, you can also increase the size and the height of it. Oops. But I don't want to do that right now. I want to do it manually, That's the fun part. So I'm going to press the spacebar. As you can see here on my front view, press the spacebar here so we can increase the size of the window. What I can do here is I can press R, and I'm going to use the middle square here and drag to increase the size of this guy, and I just fit it to my image that I got. And I'm going to do the same using now the square at the top. I'm gonna get it. Let's see. I mean, that's close enough. I mean, I don't think we need to be perfect with this. You can take your time if you want it, perfect. So now we have our soda, the basic shape. So now what we want to do is we want to just, this is the box modeling technique. Just want to keep adding more geometry to the primitive that we made. In this case, it's the cylinder. And what we want to do is, just add more geometry, and we start shaping our primitive into something like the soda can. So I'm going to press W, and now what I'm going to do is go to let me go back to my front view page. Press the spacebar and go to the edit mesh. And if you're using an older version of Maya, all they do usually is just move some of the tools around in the menus, but they're the same. So in this case, we want to look for the insert edge loop tool. And in the latest version of Maya, as I'm looking for it, it's under the mesh tools, and then there's the insert edge loop tool. So let's use that one. And by the way, something about Maya too is that some tools do almost the same things. Some tools do a little bit more than others, but you can get the same results. So I could use the insert edge loop tool, or I could use the multi-cut tool in this case, which is usually a good one too to use. So let's do it with an edge loop tool first, just so you can see the difference between the two. So that, and when you get that, click and drag on an edge. So make sure you drag on an edge, don't do it like in the middle of the model. So I'm going to try to click on an edge here, and don't let go of the mouse click, and you can just drag it down. I'm going to drag it right here. I placed it right here where the angle starts going up. So the tool right now is still active. So to exit a tool in Maya, what you do is you press the Q button on your keyboard, and that exits you out of the tool. If you don't do that, you're going to stay in the insert edge loop tool mode, and you're going to be, going to keep inserting edge loops. So let me show you now. We're going to do the same thing, add an edge loop, but we're going to use that other tool that I showed you earlier. So let's go to mesh tools, and this time use the multi-cut tool. So the difference with this guy is that you see that if you click on the edge, you don't get that edge loop. What you get is a point that you can place, and now you get a like a knife looking thing. And if you click on another edge, you see that you can start to draw your edges, and it doesn't even have to be on an edge, you can do it anywhere. So we don't want to do that right now, so I'm going to undo that. What we want to do with this tool is hold down the control key, and as you can see, what the control key does is it's trying to insert an edge loop, basically the same thing that the other tool does. But this tool can do that and allow you to just drop points. So let's do that. Let's add an edge loop. Let's do it around here. So hold down control and just drag, and then just left mouse click, and that, you know, adds your edge loop. So the same thing with the other tool, you have to press Q to exit the tool. So that's what I just did. So as you can see, now we have added geometry to our primitive. And now what we want to do, that now that we have more geometry, we can shape our primitive. So hold down the right mouse click, and what we want to do is we want to go into vertex mode, which means that we are affecting each point on our model. So let me deselect that. Press the space bar and do the same for the frontal view. So now what I'm going to do is drag outside my model and select all the vertices at the top, so all the points. And I'm going to press the R key and use the middle square, and then just scale this guy down. Let's see, let's do it right here. And we can do the same with the bottom. So select these guys at the bottom, scale this guy down. Maybe, let's see, maybe like here. And now, as you can see in a perspective view, our cylinder that we had earlier is already looking like something. So how do we add more details to this? Well, let's just keep using the insert edge loop tool or the multi-cut tool that we used earlier. So under the mesh tools, so you can either use the multi-cut tool or the edge loop tool. Let's use the edge loop tool because that's all we want. It's just an edge. Oops. I think I clicked on the wrong thing, so I'm going to press Q. Okay, exit, insert edge loop tool. And now I'm going to add it maybe right here. And I'm going to add another one down here too. I'm going to press the Q to exit my tool. And if you have your edge loop selected, if you deselected it by mistake or something, you can just double click on it and it selects the entire loop going around the model. So now let's go back to our front view and press the R key, and now use the middle square and scale this guy down a little bit. So I'm going to double click this guy and scale that too just a little bit. And yeah, that looks good to me. I think the bottom it's fine. Maybe we can add an edge loop just so to give it more shape. Let's go back and add an edge loop. Maybe right here. Press the Q to exit. Now press the R key to scale this guy. Use the middle one. Let's see. Okay, so that's looking good. So as you can see now, for the most part, we have our soda can here. So one thing that we want to do now is import that top view image. So let's do that in our top view, of course. So here, let's go to View, Image Plane, and import that top image. So that's our image right here. One thing in at least my Maya version here, my model is gray. So it's kind of getting in the way here. So what I'm going to do is click on this icon. Oh wait, that's not it. Click on this guy so that my model is not what we call in 3D it's shaded. So it doesn't have any color. We're just seeing the wireframe. So now that we have our image selected, First, I'm going to decrease the opacity like we did with the other one. So under the alpha gain, let's set that to like 0.4. Okay, so now what we want to do is I want to scale the image so that it's the same scale as my model so that it fits it. So let's press the Alt key when you have it selected and use the middle square and then just scale this guy down. And scale it so that it fits into your model here. So mine's about here. I think that's good. Let's see. Let me click here on this guy. I'm going to face mode and select this guy. Oops, not that guy. This guy. This guy right here. Okay, so that's the top edge of my model here. So that means I have to get my image within that. So let's go back to my image and scale this guy. Actually, no, I think in the image we're seeing the top is this, and then this, that's like the curve on the soda. I think that's what it is. So I'm going to set this around there. Okay, so I think that's good. That's good for our image. And if you don't want it to be on the way, press the W and just drag that guy down so that it's not blocking your view here. So now let's select our object again. And what we want to do is we want to add an edge loop that goes on the top here. But the thing is, you cannot use the insert edge loop tool for that. Let me show you why. So if you go to mesh tools, insert edge loop tool, and if you try to insert the edge loop here, you see that you don't get anything, you just get a point. The reason for that, I'm going to press Ctrl C to undo that. The reason for that is because the edge loop tool typically works on a polygon that's four-sided. So in this case we have, so this is a polygon. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has 4 sides. But if you look at the top polygons, they only have 3. So they are triangles. They're not quads. So we have 1, 2, 3. So the edge loop tool doesn't really work too well with those. So you can say, well, let's just use the other tool then. So I'm going to press Q. And you can say, well, let's use that multi-cut tool. It does the same thing, right? So if you hold down the control, you see that you don't get that edge loop. You can't do that with this tool either. So you can get it here, but you can't really get it here when you hold down control. So what do we do in cases like this? So we have other tools that we can use. So what we want to do is we want to select the faces. So hold down the right click button and go to face mode. And what we want to do is we want to select all these faces at the top. So the easiest way to do that is if we go to our front view here. And I'm just going to drag on the top faces. Press the spacebar. But if you see what we did there, we also selected these guys on the side, which we don't want. So let's go back to our front view. So to deselect these guys, hold down the control button. And you can see there's a minus sign there. And then just drag on these guys. And as you can see, now we have only the top one selected. So with these guys selected, we're going to use a different tool. What we're going to use is the connect tool. So that's the connect. So if you click on that, as you can see, it already created an edge loop on this guy. But what it does is it creates the edge loop in the middle of this guy. So this was one triangle, and then it created it in the middle of the triangle. So as you can see now we cannot use an edge loop tool on these guys, but we can use it on these guys because these guys are four-sided. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can go to edit mesh tools and use the insert edge loop tool, and you can see that now we can actually place an edge loop up here. Go to my top view here. That's a good spot for that guy. So cool. So I'm gonna press Q to exit this guy. And now we have more details on our model. So usually a soda can has the top of it. this part usually goes down a little bit. So let's do some of that. So go to face mode, and we want to select all these faces. So we can do it the same way that we did earlier. So if you drag on these guys, then hold down Control, deselect the side guys, we have this guy selected. But we don't want these guys on the edge. So I'm going to do the same thing. Hold down Control. So what you do is hold down Control, click on one of these guys, then double click the guy next to it. What it does, it deselects the entire loop, which is really cool, by the way. So with that done, let's use a different tool so that you can start to see all the tools you can use just to make one thing. Usually these are the most useful tools in Maya, but there's plenty of things that you can do with them. So let's go to Mesh Tools. Actually, this time on this version of Maya, it's under Edit Mesh, and we're going to use the Extrude tool. You can see that the keyboard shortcut is Ctrl E if you want to use that. So we clicked on that, and we don't really, so we're not seeing any effect. We only get these options, which you can scale down or up however you want. I got mine really big. So with that, what we do is, what we want to do is we want to go to, let's do the thickness. So let's type 1, and you can see that, oh, that's not what we want. That's not what a soda can looks like. Actually, it looks kind of cool because now it looks like a bottle spray or something. But that's not what we want. So we want to reduce this to like -0.2, and that's too much, right? The good thing with this tool is that you don't really have to type numbers here. What you can do is you can select on the name, so it's highlighted, and then here in the viewport, if you hold down the middle mouse button and drag, you can interactively, change the settings. And if you hold down Control in the middle mouse button, it allows you for more precision. So let's keep that like that, and that's already looking better, right? Cool. One thing we want to do with this guy, we also want to scale this guy down. Let me move this guy to the side. To do that, you click on the offset. Use the offset one and use the middle mouse button, and you can scale this guy up and down like this. And there you go. You pretty much have a soda can here. By the way, you don't have to use these options here. You can just do it interactively here in the viewport. So you can use the arrows here to move this guy up or down, and you can use the scale tool. So if you click on this guy and I use the bottom, the middle one, you can scale this guy up and down. So that's pretty cool. So now I'm going to press Q. Remember, when you want to exit a tool, always press the Q button. And now we can just go to object mode, and as you can see, we got our soda can. So what I want to do now is I just want to add an extra edge loop here. So you don't have to go to edge mode, but if you go to insert edge loop, I'm just going to add one right here. I'm going to press W and just move this guy down a little bit. Like that. So there you go, we have a soda can model. And as you can see, it was pretty easy using the box modeling technique. So all you do is you create a primitive that Maya already made for you, and all you do is add more geometry to it and shape it. That's pretty much everything you have to do when it comes to box modeling. If you look at the front view, it's pretty darn close to the image that we got. And this one too. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you made it all this way, please leave a comment in the comment section. Just say I made it, and just leave any questions or comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you like the video, and if you want more videos, just leave a comment below. So yeah, thank you for watching this.